Hey guys, and welcome back to the M&M update with myself, AJ Morris, and of course Vicky on the other end of the line. We are back. We are back for another update. Did we do one last week? I think we did.
We did,
Yeah.
and because I was actually at work, so I had like the noise of the gym in the background, and we were talking about powerlifting and various
Yes.
other bits like that
Yeah,
last
and I
week.
was
So
in,
we
I
did
was in
do one.
Starbucks.
You were, you
Yeah.
were. You had to run out and get some new headphones because your headphones were shit.
Oh yeah. And it's a funny story actually. Like I've kind of, I still go to a coffee shop like once a day just to keep in routine, but I've kind of stopped doing any work in there because I found that like my hip mobility and my overall recovery went from like hero to zero by just sitting down for like a period of like 3 hours. I
Yeah, I
I
get
I
that.
really suck at recovering, and like my left hip has always been a little bit niggly whenever I did like too long car journeys or something. So I know that it comes in waves, this whole standing desk thing, because the first time that I ever heard about it was Matt Ogus, because Matt Ogus was using a standing desk in like his 2016 contest prep, and then I think Steve Hall was using one as well. So
Yeah.
Steve started using one, then I was like, I kind of like this idea. So I started using one at the start of my prep, and now I think Callum, CR Physique Callum, has got loads of people using it as well. So it's like anything. It's like intermittent fasting. It just comes in massive waves of
That's it. It's
people
a
hopping
trend.
on. But yes, it's
You'll be
definitely
doing Slimming World next, I tell
yeah,
you.
Slimming World next. Yeah. So cool. This week we're gonna get stuck into obviously giving ourselves a little bit of an update either end as to where we're at and what we're doing. But also we're gonna discuss briefly, I guess, what we're planning to do over the Christmas period and whether we're stressed, whether we're worried, what we're going to do with regards to food and training. Obviously, gyms close at different times, etc. So, first up, Vicky, just give us a brief roundup as to what this week. It's Thursday, so what this week so far since we last updated has had in store for you,
Okay.
and what's happening? Because obviously there's a lot going on that's actually quite different with you at the moment.
Oh, massively
Yeah.
different, massively different. And when I say massively different, massive being the operative word. So we updated last week on Tuesday, and I kept it all very, very quiet. On Wednesday, I went in and into hospital and had surgery.
Mhm.
And as people have been following me from my stories know, I had a breast augmentation.
Mhm.
And there was a very, very specific reason for this. And myself and AJ spoke about it in depth because I was in absolute turmoil about whether I was going to do this or not. So I needed my boy to obviously say, do you know what? Maybe think about it a little bit more. So obviously I did. But bottom line is, I went in, I had it done, and they look amazing.
Yay.
And yay! I'm not going to pull my top up to show everybody. However, they
That
look
could be the title of the podcast. That'll get so many views.
wouldn't it just? I know, yeah. Just jumps to the straight top of the chart. Funny. Tiny Titans boobs. No, no, we're not doing that. But anyway, no, they look really good. I was actually really afraid to look at them all week, and I only
Wow.
just, yeah, I saw them yesterday.
Yeah.
And it was only by a fleeting glance because it was my first time that I could have a full shower and stuff, and I got
Yeah.
out of the shower and you've got to leave your top off, so I went to go and dry my hair, and there they were in the mirror staring at me like headlights, and I was like, shit, now I've seen them. But they look really good, and almost immediately, it's almost like I had a huge confidence lift
Oh,
in
wicked.
in everything that I was doing. You know, I felt like I was holding myself better, and throughout all of that turmoil, that turmoil and self doubt all went away. So this week, it's funny that you were talking about hip mobility,
Mm.
because obviously I've been sitting down, not doing a lot.
Yeah.
Been so bored.
Yeah,
I've
I
been
bet.
so
I'd
bored.
I'd be besides myself.
Honestly, it was ridiculous. I was wanting to get up and walk, and then, but you get up and walk, and even from the living room to the kitchen, and you are drained.
Wow. Is that
Like,
the drugs
seriously.
wearing off?
Yeah, it's the
Yeah.
anesthetic.
Wow.
Because your body just goes through this complete shock. Obviously, it's been knocked out, it's been cut about, it's been things shoved in it, things taken out of it, and then things stitched up, and things
Yeah.
are not how it used to be. Um, but it's been interesting this week, and I've been logging everything on my stories, and I've been making an entire YouTube diary about it. But I've also been writing my thoughts, my feelings, and my energy levels in a diary. So I've been writing those down just to kind of make a bit more of a blog, so people who don't watch the video and they prefer to read, they can read it.
Sure.
And what I was talking about was when you get up from the sofa after a leg day, not the day after, but the same day. You know when you feel that heavy lethargy, but they're not sore?
Yeah. I had that yesterday.
That's what your entire body feels like when you haven't done anything. And I just thought to myself, shit, have I got some kind of muscle atrophy going on after like 8 days or something? But it's not. It's actually, it's a really strange phenomenon. You can break your arm, have surgery on your arm, and then you can't walk. You limp.
Crazy.
And so if anybody is going to be having some kind of surgery or you're recovering from an injury, right? This is injury related as well. Just be aware that you are not losing muscle. You're not going through an atrophy period as long as your nutrition is on point, and it's your body telling you that you need to recover.
Yeah, sure.
So, just kind of bear that in mind. But yeah, so driving's been difficult. I haven't driven. That's but my good friend Jack, Jack, the vegan dream.
Yeah.
He came and gentlemanly walked me to the gym yesterday.
Oh, amazing.
And it was nice. And then we had a little bit of a cycle on the bike just to get things moving, because I got signed off to do some little bit of lower body cardio.
Nice.
I tried it again this morning, but I thought I'm not going to cycle. I'm just going to go for a walk. Treadmill walking, not a good idea.
Yeah.
So I did 15 minutes and thought, no, it's not right. So just
is it the weight?
I think it's a little bit of everything. So I think it's the added weight that I've got because it's all in one place, and my body still hasn't adapted to having that additional weight. But also I think it's the impact that you're obviously doing. There's no impact on a bike, and nothing is, for use of a better word, nothing is jiggling.
Sure.
So it's not painful. So I think I just did 15 minutes, slowed it right down, up the incline. It was still painful, so I just got off and just did some stretches.
Yeah.
And that, I was telling Scott this morning, is actually a really big step for me, because in 2015, when I was going through a prep at that point, even when I was knackered, tired, depleted, I was still like, no, I've got to train. No, I've got to train. No, I've got to train. Whereas now I'm like, okay, it hurts, so I won't train.
Well done. Yeah, well done. That's a huge difference mentally.
Massive. So it's bodybuilding in a sense that throughout the entire thing of bodybuilding is life-changing, because it can change your mindset from a negative to a positive in so many different ways.
Yeah, I agree.
Even if you don't compete, I find that it's changed my mindset towards work, towards my attitude towards my friends, towards, you want to use the word balance, but I'm using balance in your off season, because in prep you do have to give up some kind of things. You can't have that 100% balance.
Of course.
But it has changed my viewpoint into absolutely everything. So, people who are getting into bodybuilding now, especially females, are now realizing that it is life-changing in so many different ways, and empowering as well.
Yeah.
So God, that went a bit deep, didn't it, for bloody 8:30 on a Thursday morning?
Yeah.
But yes, so my update is actually
stuff, though.
It is, I think so. And I think what we were talking about before, it makes you human, because it realizes it's not just about looking good in a bikini or looking good in a pair of shorts or trunks or whatever. There is so much more to it, and you can have highs and lows. And I don't know if people watched it on my story, but one day, I think I was only 3 days post-op, I was so depressed. I was down in the dumps, and I was upset about everything because I couldn't walk. Yeah. And when I did walk, I got out of breath, and that made me feel worse rather than anything else, because it made me feel unfit, and I'm not unfit.
No, exactly.
I had this ridiculous pregnancy bloat thing going on, because a general anesthetic, when they use paralytics, it slows down your digestive system, which causes this bloat. And you need to let your doggy
It's all right. I'm just looking to see. He's wandering around in the rain, and
go let him in.
He's deciding as to whether he wants to come in or not. He's not at the door yet. When he jumps, I'll let him in. It's my little dog, by the way, for listeners. It's Dougie. Oh,
Dougie,
I
yeah.
think he heard me.
There he
Oh
is.
God, I'm gonna let him in. He heard
We're
my
gonna
name.
let Dougie
He's
in.
got such good hearing, man. He's like he heard that through the door.
That's
There he is.
amazing.
Oh, he
Hi,
drops in.
Dougie. Ah, bless
He's
him.
in.
He's massive now as well.
Yeah, he is. Where is he? Doug, say hi to the podcast. There he is.
Hey, Dougie. Everybody, you have to download this on YouTube and look at it now because you can see how cute Dougie is. He's wet, but
He's
cute.
very wet. Right. I have a few questions
yes,
whilst
go.
you were talking. So, over this period of time, what have you done nutrition-wise to sort of make sure that, you're not losing any tissue, or at least you're holding on to as much tissue as you can, and obviously not gaining any excessive body fat at the same time? And what was with that nutrition approach, what was the overarching goal of this sort of period of time where you can't train?
Okay, so I kept my protein the same.
Okay.
I kept my fats the same, and I just took out 100 grams of carb. That was it.
Oh, okay, cool. Very simple.
The reason why I kept protein the same is because having a higher level of protein, especially for recovery, obviously does help knit back tissues together. Yeah. It does help healing processes, and obviously it's going to keep hold of your muscle tissue so you avoid atrophy. Fats wise, to keep my calories high, for the simple fact that I need high calories. Everybody knows that I was on a ridiculous amount. Mm-hmm. And if I just went down to bikini level, starvation levels, I would shrivel up and die very, very quickly. So I kept fats the same. So 240 grams of protein, which is about 2 grams per pound of body weight, which I think is about right for recovery.
Yeah,
maybe a little bit more, maybe 2.2.
Your protein is super high, man. It's like Jack Thorburns levels.
It's great though. It's great. But the thing is with that, I have no kind of side effects.
No bloating, no nothing. Yeah.
Nothing. No, my protein turnover is obviously very good.
Yes. Yep.
So I'm utilizing it, and fats are at 60, so I haven't changed those, and my carbohydrates are at 250. So I'm still got a relatively high carbohydrate intake. The reason why we just took carbohydrate down is because I'm not training, and I don't need it to fuel it. So I would normally have a good dose of carbohydrate pre-training. So realistically, I've just taken that out. Which is my pre-training meal, so I don't particularly miss anything. I am getting up and eating a little bit later on for the simple fact that I have to take antibiotics with food, and I can't take antibiotics till 10 o'clock. Okay. So I am, I suppose, using a little bit more of an intermittent fasting technique with myself. Okay. But when I do get up at like 5 or 6 in the morning, because I like to keep in routine, I have a shake. So, cool. I'm still getting something down me, first of all. Nice. And then eating a decent, good, 600-700 calorie breakfast at 10 o'clock because I've then missed a meal. So
yeah, wicked. And the second question is, do you know the actual weight of the implants that you had? Because surely that's going to, if you don't know the exact weight in pounds, surely that's going to mess with your mind a little bit when you do eventually step on the scale.
Yeah, and it was funny, because this is what I didn't. I know, yeah. It was different because I didn't actually take the weight of that into account. Ah. Now, I am very small. I'm very small framed. Yeah. So the implants that I had, they don't actually come in, they do come in weights, but they come in like milliliters. Okay. So these ones, I know it's crazy, right? Because everyone's like, oh, what cup size are you going up to? I'm like, I have no idea, but they're like 200 mils. So that's what they are. They're 200 mils each. So 400 mils, if you convert that into your grams, you're looking at about 400 grams, which is about half a pound.
Okay, cool.
So it doesn't actually make, not at all. And if you coincide that with the skin that they had to remove, I'm probably eating out.
Okay. That's fine then.
Yeah.
I was thinking if they weighed like a decent amount, it would be a little bit of a mind fuck, especially if you're dieting down next year. It'd be like, where am I? Like, am I here or am I here? It's like, having, I don't know, like wearing a hoodie or something throughout your entire contest.
When you go, wearing a hoodie, haven't gone to the toilet, ate late last night, was too hot, stressed, and had a high sodium meal.
So yeah, wicked. Okay, cool. So that's your week pretty much updated. Now I guess I better give an update on where I'm at.
I think you should.
So
you're looking fat.
So weekend, went to Prague, which is amazing.
Nice. No, actually, first question about Prague. Yeah. What the hell was that like? Really circular donut thing with?
Amazing. They were unreal.
Dude, I
unreal.
needed one.
When I got home, I actually looked up the rough calories on those, and I
Yeah.
was me and Jack were estimating them. I was like Jack, there's probably like 900, 1,000 calories in these things. And when I got back, like apparently the average one, like not with Nutella in it, but
Yeah.
the average one is like 500 calories and pretty low fat as well. So whatever they make it with is, I don't know, they do sort of, they don't sort of cook them on anything, which I think is
Okay.
why they're lower fat, because they're just sort of made as like probably pancake mix or something similar, and then put on top of like charcoal and then sort of heated
Oh,
up, and then
okay.
they have like they have cinnamon, a bit of sugar, almonds on the outside, and then inside you could choose whether you want it or not, but obviously you want it, so they put
Yeah.
Nutella in it. They were hella good. What else did we
Yeah.
have? I had my first pizza in like oh fuck, like a year and a half. It was okay. It was meh. I like potatoes more.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, what else did I have? Had some really nice breakfasts.
Oh,
Because we we're only there for 2 days, so had some really nice breakfast. But we did so many steps. Like I do a lot of steps on a daily basis normally,
yeah.
because I love to move. But that was too much moving. I think one day we did like 35, 40,000 steps.
Wow, that's a
Yeah,
lot.
my Fitbit was saying that I burnt like shifted. I hadn't even trained, and I shifted through like 4.5, 5,000 calories.
Shit, that's a
so
lot.
so I got back, and like I obviously I've got a few other things going on at the moment which we've talked about off air. But I've just been in a position now where I just like I'm I'm a bit done with the scale weight, and I'm also a bit done with the whole idea of how many calories can I handle and how much food can I take in. So I've literally just like, since getting back, I've just brought my diet back to like basics, so I know roughly what I'm consuming, and I'm
Yeah.
probably either in like a maintenance or a slight surplus, because I wanted to run at least sort of maintenance for this week, because I just looked kind of shit when I got back from Prague. I must be honest. Like, I
Just
looked like
watery though, aren't you?
I'd look like I'd lost weight, but
Mm.
gained body fat because of the sodium in the water. Like, I must admit, I look shit. So I didn't look,
Skinny fat.
yeah, skinny fat. I hadn't trained for 2 days. I probably lost a few pounds of glycogen because I definitely didn't hit my carb totals, but my fats were super high, sodium was super high, so I was probably thereabouts on calories. I was probably thereabouts on protein, because one day we had a huge amount of sushi. The second day I slammed in loads of protein bars just to hit my protein. So yeah, I just felt like meh. I was just like, right, let's just just eat and train. And it's currently Thursday. I haven't stepped on the scale at all.
Great.
But I tell you what, Vicky, like I look and feel the best that I've ever felt before I stopped prep. Like I've just and my hunger's way less.
Oh, good.
My food focus is nothing. Um, my training performance is great. Like I think when I overanalyze small, especially scale weight, it after such a time weighing myself every day, it got to me a little bit too much. So like if I saw it fluctuate, or if I saw it, go in the wrong direction, I'd just get a bit annoyed, and I'd be like, what do I do with food today? Do I increase? Do I look flat? Do I need to eat more? Like, I just question myself too much. So I've just been very static and plain with my diet. You may notice on my Instagram that I actually stopped showing a bit of my food,
Yeah,
because
I noticed that actually.
I actually just got irritated with the amount of messages that I was getting asking me where my calories were at, what macros was on,
Mm.
why was I eating bagels, why was I actually just got irritated with it. So I trust me, I'm still very routine with everything that I do. I prep all my meals. I make sure that I'm eating adequate protein. I track my macros roughly. I know where they are. I'm eating the
Would
same.
you say that you're more along the lines of intuitively eating then this week?
I
or
wouldn't
just
say
taking
so
a
because
more laissez-faire
I'm still
approach?
tracking everything pretty much.
Okay, okay.
So I roughly know where my numbers are. But to be honest, I must admit, I think some of the hunger things is the fact that right now with some of the stuff that I'm going through at home, I couldn't give a flying fuck about food.
Sure.
And I've really if someone asks me now, it's funny how like when you have things happen and it puts things in perspective. If someone asked me to do a show in 3 weeks, I guarantee okay, let's say 4 or 5 weeks.
Hmm.
I guarantee I'd be leaner than I was at Worlds. I
Yeah.
guarantee. I'd do anything. I'd eat 0 grams of fat, 2 grams of carbs, and
400 protein.
and 400 protein. Like, I'd do anything. And when these things happen, like you have like a few people have messaged me, and I would like to thank anyone that messaged me on Instagram and reached out. Obviously, want to thank Vicky as well for being there for me as well. But people did say the majority of the messages that I was getting was like, you can use this tough time to sort of like make you stronger and fuel your sessions and like it definitely will do that because I will sort of remember how I felt in this phase and remember that when I am hungry on a contest prep it's nothing. I've always been like that, to be honest, but never as much as I have been now. So I think that guys, if you're out there and you're like prepping next year, just when you have a bad day or you have like a tough workout, just remember perspective a little bit.
Yeah.
Because it is a large factor in your ability to sort of get through the mini tough times that are like a contest prep.
Yeah.
And I genuinely think that like looking at the people that achieve like ridiculous conditioning, it's those people that have actually just been through tougher times and that know that what they're going through in a contest prep is actually relatively easy. Like what we were talking about when you were working at the hospital, you've seen that, and that's what I think personally, that's why you can just push through a prep with relative ease, and you can get more conditioned than pretty much any other female in the world, basically. There's
Not
not
conditioned enough though, apparently, for this year. No,
fuck,
not conditioned enough.
that's absolute garbage. And like another one that stands out to me is Jack Thorburn. Like he put up some pictures today of him just like, and I took some of those pictures, and the guy's got nothing on him. And he does sort of, I know that he has a lot going on as well, and he's gone through a lot of things that have been difficult.
Yeah.
And it's interesting how it's sort of you can use it in different ways. You can harp on it, you can hold it in, or you can use it to fuel a positive fire. So yeah, I think that's realistically my week. Is obviously I went to Prague, have some difficult things going on at the moment, but just the goal at the moment is just to really enjoy like just being me and loving bodybuilding and continuing to like do the things like this, like the podcast. The ultimate goal will always be there, and like the fact I'm still very, very consistent, don't get me wrong, but I think it's important to have phases where you potentially just back off the gas a little bit in terms of it, like just being like so arduous about whether I'm gaining weight or whatever, like with your weight, just it's nice to just, like you said, you're weighing yourself less.
Oh God, yeah.
You
I don't
know,
even. I think I weighed myself when I came out of hospital, and I weighed in at something like 3 pounds over what I was before I went in. But I was swollen, lots of
yeah,
inflammation, lots of water
that's a bad
retention.
reading.
So that was like last week, and then I weighed in this morning as well, just to kind of keep an eye that I'm not losing too much
Yeah,
weight.
you don't want to.
And I'm back down to what I was before I went into hospital, 109. So
Perfect,
yeah.
And the funny thing is, like, I do think that it's optimal to weigh yourself.
Mm.
I don't get that wrong or twisted, but I do think that I could prep without the scale. I really do think that I could.
Yeah.
I think that I could prep pretty efficiently with maybe a little bit less stress by just doing regular physique updates and making macro adjustments based on those.
Yeah.
But I almost think that I'd be inclined. I think I'd push myself too hard. I think if I actually saw the data that I was getting, I think I'd be like, oh, okay, I've actually lost too fast here, because you know, we're both very like condition freaks. We love like getting absolutely diced. So if we didn't see absolutely diced, we'd be like, I want more, I want more, I want more. When in reality, you could be looking at the scale and see like pretty much a picture perfect week. And we
Sure.
could have made no changes and been fine. You know, that's the benefit of having the scale, is because, you know, you might have had a picture perfect week. You might just have to wait to see the changes in your physique. So I think it's good to have both tools, but certainly weighing myself less and certainly enjoying that, because like even in my last off season, I was weighing myself every single day. So I haven't had a time off that damn scale in a long time, apart from maybe the occasional trip where I wouldn't bring it, you know. And I'd always go on that trip and enjoy it more. I never really realised, like, I don't actually like weighing myself that much.
No.
But anyway, other things, training wise, I didn't train when I was in Prague. The gyms are crap, and we're only there for 2 days, so we wanted to make the most of the travel.
Sure.
Usually if I go away, I would definitely train. You know, like when I went to the US, I trained far too fucking much.
You really did.
Yeah,
You really
absolutely
did.
buried the physique in the ground. I said to Jack the other day on the flight, I was like, I freaking actually lost tissue.
Do you know what? It was funny, right? Because
I
there
freaking
was
actually
one thing.
atrophied.
I know there was one time on your story, and I was watching it, and I was sat next to Scott, and you were talking. It was your walk in the morning on the treadmill,
Mm.
right? And you could hardly fucking talk.
Uh,
And I said, "What is going on?" AJ sounds pissed. And even Scott said,
it's so
is he
fucked.
coming back off a night out or something?" I said, "No, AJ doesn't drink," but he actually sounds pissed. And I think it was literally because you just went through yourself into so much training that your brain had atrophied.
I was so
You know?
fatigued.
Yeah, you were.
Like, I ran myself into. I basically had, because my immune system is very, very good. It doesn't really, or touch wood, doesn't really allow me to get like colds. But
Okay.
when I have like the symptoms of a cold, I'll get it in my throat. And I could that entire US trip, I could barely speak, because
Yeah.
I had like a really bad cold, but it wasn't like fully blown.
Yeah.
And then obviously towards the end of the trip was when I started using like cinnamon on everything that I was eating. Like even when I ate out, I had cinnamon. And then like by the time my sister came, I was having those hypo events. And like
Doing yourself diabetic.
one evening in like the in I remember going up in the lift, going back to the hotel room, and like my sister was on one side of the lift, I was on the other, and I was leaning against the door. The door opened at our flight of stairs or whatever. I just fucking fell out of the lift.
Oh my God, that's hilarious.
I was just like, I was doing like 35,000 steps a day, training twice a day, and having hypo things with the cinnamon. I was absolutely ruined. But yeah, it was fun. That it was good. I don't recommend doing that. I recommend that actually you probably take some rest when you stop doing shows. But until you sort of have the euphoria of achieving a long-term goal, it's hard to explain how it feels. Like you feel like superhuman until you realise that you're fucking not.
Yeah, you're really not. You're really not. You can be superhuman up until a point.
Yeah.
And then the elevator doors open, and then you're not a superhuman anymore. Yeah.
What other things have happened? I've sort of like on the plane when you don't have your phone and it's on airplane mode, you sort of think about things. And I was thinking, you know, do I want to try a different split? Do I want to sort of mix things up? Because I've been on like a push pull legs for a long time. And I was thinking, you know, do I want to try like going back to a variation of like push pull legs with some upper body days in there, purely to sort of prioritize my upper body a little bit more, because it definitely does everything needs to come up, but I'd like to improve my upper body even more so, because I think my legs certainly improved, but But one thing that I did sort of, and you like when you come to an end of a season, you analyze and you think, okay, what did I improve? What didn't I? One thing that I don't think I improved as much as I thought I should have done was actually my quads.
Oh, really?
Yeah, definitely. I think my quads definitely grew,
Mm.
but I do think that all the back squatting that I did, actually just grew my glutes and my hamstrings. Because if you remember, when I was back squatting a lot in my off season, it was all low bar,
Yeah.
and no high bar. And I must admit, I I know that soreness is not the main indicator of hypertrophy, but I never really had sore quads. Never.
Hmm.
In my entire off season. My recovery capabilities for lower body are very, very, very good.
Yeah, I was going to say you recover from legs very quickly, though.
I do. I could probably train legs 3 times a week, no issues.
Yeah.
But I must admit that since doing more hacks, more assisted squats, more squats that involve like on a leverage squat, or
Yeah.
like yesterday on the assisted squat, I will get to like active range, or where my active range stops, so where I stop feeling it in my quads basically,
Hmm.
and I will pause there, and then I will initiate the movement through driving through my heels, pushing through the pad, and keeping constant tension on my quads. And like today, my quads are really wrecked from that. They seem to get really wrecked from doing things like that. But I could squat, do 5 sets of squats, and go in and sort of do 5 sets of squats probably the next day and be okay.
Yeah.
Training performance probably wouldn't be optimal, but I'd be okay. I'd be able to do it. So yeah, something I'm thinking about this off season is like doing more shit that actually makes me feel like I've trained, as opposed to just doing shit that I think, is, oh, you got to squat, you got to deadlift.
Sure. Have you thought
One
about doing 2 leg days? So maybe one quad focus day and then one hamstring and glute focus
Yeah,
day?
I sort of do that already.
Oh, right.
So
Okay.
one day I have sort of, yesterday's leg day was a primary quad focus. So I always start with a leg curl variation because I want just ridiculous hamstrings, and I
Sure.
also feel like I can connect really well with a leg curl variation and not have it take away from anything else in the workout when I put it
Mm.
first.
Mm.
And it also acts as a bit of a nice activation drill.
Well,
Um,
that's it. Actually, do you
just
know, I
get
was
you
sorry
firing.
to interrupt. I was talking to
Go for it.
Jack about this as well, and I've seen so many people just go into the gym and just load up a bar and squat, or
Yeah,
load up a
I
bar and
can't do
bench.
that.
And, you just look at them and cringe because you think to yourself, oh my God, you're going to tear that pec or something like that.
Mm,
Guys, really listen to that, because if you do need to get blood into that muscle before you start getting into a compound lift.
you do.
So, do leg extensions, do leg curls, like AJ was saying, even do banded stuff. I mean, if you get one of those hip circles
Mm,
and just do banded squats and like crab walks or something, fuck me, that activates your glutes like anything.
yeah.
But at least it gets blood into your muscle and you're going to prevent injury that way.
I mean, people don't do this shit until they get hurt, and they
Yeah,
get
exactly. And
hurt,
then it's too late, innit?
and then they start doing tons of mobility, and then when it's better, they stop doing the mobility. So
Mm.
yeah, it's a big thing. My squat warm up used to be excessive. I used to warm up for probably a good half an hour, to be honest, doing dynamic shit. And I just got really bored of that, to be honest. It wasn't really preventing injury any more so than just doing a bit of activation, a bit of like sort of leg raises to the side, leg raises to the front, getting everything moving, and
Mm.
then getting into the squat. It's just taking my time too much, basically.
Yeah. Yeah.
One other thing that I did change is I before we went to Prague, it was my sort of hamstring glute focused leg day, and instead of doing a conventional deadlift, I did a sumo.
Nice.
Rationale behind that is like I want ridiculous glutes, and I think I said on the last podcast about adductors. Did I say that on the last podcast?
Yeah, I
I'm
think so. I think we mentioned it.
Yeah, so I see a lot of people that have amazing adductors do sumo deadlifts.
Yeah, yeah.
Brett Freeman, who won Lightweight Worlds, he has really, really, really good adductors, and just general thickness to his legs because of his adductors and his inner thigh, and he does a lot of sumos. I know that he did conventional in the past, but he's definitely sumoed for at least a year, and he's fairly strong at it as well. So they felt really good. They felt really, really good. So I'm looking forward to seeing where I can go with them, because I basically, it's weird, I was warming up, I was like, holy fuck, these are really easy.
Yeah.
Because of the shortened range of motion.
Exactly, can lift heavier.
Yeah, and my glutes are already pretty strong from like hip thrusting as well, so hip extension is pretty good for me, so I reckon I can get really strong at them. I was already matching conventional deadlift numbers within one session.
Brilliant, that's amazing. Buns of steel.
I'd really like to shift some ridiculous weight on those.
I think you should try and crack a watermelon, like those
Yeah.
guys say, now that you got those on, crack a watermelon for Christmas.
But yeah, again, like with the post that I put up yesterday, like 3 pictures of my arse.
Oh yeah.
If I have more glute tissue when it comes the next time to diet, it will be relatively easier to get them peeled, because the fact is they weren't diced head to toes because I didn't have enough tissue. Still didn't have enough tissue for that there. You know, when you see people that have extremely striated glutes, they usually have very big glutes because they've got a lot of tissue to play with.
Good example is Flex.
Flex Lewis, or David K. David
K
has
his arse is massive,
top to toe striated glutes, and that's because he's got buns of he's got huge glutes. So the circumference and the area that
he's got
covers.
Chelsea buns. He hasn't just got baps. He's got Chelsea buns on his ass with maybe a swirl.
So train your glutes, guys, if you're competing or planning to compete in male bodybuilding, where the trunks, yes, they do show the glutes. So you can't hide the sagginess by sort of spreading the trunks around the glutes like some people try to do.
Or using the bikini shelf thing.
Yeah, no.
That they do.
You're still fat.
You just haven't got them.
You can see your trunks like sinking into your arse fat.
Yeah. And plus, when you train your glutes, it gives you a stronger lower back because it's all posterior chain movement. So
it's very good for overall health. I think.
Absolutely.
Cool. Well, I don't know how long we've been going on for, but quite a while.
A while.
40 minutes, so that's fine. It's not too long. So should we wrap it up there? I think we've pretty much explained everything. Did you want to talk about anything else?
We were just going to mention Christmas very quickly. If you want to do that, I know, just going on. So we have so much to talk about.
Should we briefly touch on that?
We'll briefly touch on it, I think. So what's your... Okay, so you start with your plan, and then we'll move over.
Cool. So Christmas Day for me will be a little bit interesting because people in my house eat very differently. So I don't know what's going to be on offer. We basically don't really have, apart from my dad, we don't really have any meat eaters in my house.
Oh, really?
Yeah, my sister's a vegan. My mum's vegan, kind of vegan. So it will be interesting as to what we actually have. I mean, I've said to my dad that I'll happily, I'll cook and I'll do us turkey and whatever. And I quite enjoy that, to be honest. But in terms of stressing about whether I'm going to gain weight or anything, I think you'll probably be the same. I'm kind of... I'm kind of more interested to see whether I'd lose weight, because if I don't eat frequently and I just eat crisp like a normal person, 3 meals, unless I snack on crap, which I won't, because I don't really like previous Christmas when I was younger. I'd wake up, open up my stocking, it would have chocolate orange in it. I'd probably demolish the chocolate orange before breakfast, and then that's why people pass out on the sofa, because they're in a huge sugar fat coma. And I don't really want to feel like that, because I actually think that unless I've got specific times that I need to be at home for family, I think I'll probably train, because the gym that I go to down the road, someone is opening it up for just a couple of hours. At the end of the day, training is Training is my favourite part of my day. So if I'm able to get a quick session in, I'll do that. I've actually done that a few years, but I didn't do it last year because we had specific things going on. So I'll probably train, which will be fun. I won't be eating my normal meals. Don't think I'll be doing that. I'll miss oats if I don't get I don't think I'll get the opportunity to eat oats for one day, which will be very upsetting. We tend to have something salmon and eggs for breakfast, and then we just sort of have a small a small lunch, and then we have sort of Christmas dinner like just sort of like early afternoon. That tends to be what we do on Christmas, and that's what I'll have, and I'll just be chilled about it. And you know, what we were, like I was saying, you know, with coming away from the competition, the goal is to limit food focus and have it quite low. So I'm in a position where, you know, body fat's at a point where I don't have food focus and I don't feel the need to sort of over consume calories. So
good.
That's me, and I'll definitely get expenditure in. I'll get my usual steps done, which will be easy because we'll probably go out for a walk or something. And that's probably one of my biggest tips is, like, when you like have Christmas Day, just like don't sit on the sofa all day, because you're probably not doing that on a day-to-day basis, unless all your family events coincide with sitting down and doing nothing all day, and that's what you need to do. That's what you want to do. Then get out, explore, like get some steps, get some activity. Don't train unless you sort of like want to or have to or whatever. And if you're in a fat loss phase, just take it as a day that, like, just take it as a day that's just Christmas, and then just crack on with fat loss when you're done with Christmas. I don't think that sort of thinking about, should I restrict massively leading up to Christmas or restrict after? I think you should just take it as a day that, yeah, it's Christmas, cool. I'll just crack on with my usual macros after that.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much my tip. So like get moving and just enjoy it. Like I said in my status yesterday, just enjoy it your way. So whatever your way is to enjoy it, whether it's having 8 chocolate oranges and feeling sick, or, you know, just not really eating that much, it doesn't really matter. Just enjoy it. That's my tip.
Exactly.
What
Create
are you
the
gonna do?
memory. So, my focus, or my little mini goal for Christmas this year, is literally just to enjoy the day. In 2015, I was in prep mode and I was doing fucking burpees in the bathroom and things like that. And it was horrendous, mate, proper horrendous. And I was going out for walks, like so many walks, and I just really didn't enjoy the day, and it was terrible, and I really didn't like it. I like the memory, but obviously I didn't enjoy the process of it, because I just had this overwhelming fear of guilt that I was eating too much and stuff. Yeah. And then last year, or 2016, sorry, I wasn't in prep mode because it was my year off. So I was like, I'm really going to enjoy Christmas this year, and then ended up binging. So it was like, God's sakes, one extreme to the other. So this year is literally just like you said. I just want to get up. I want to enjoy my day. And I think my mental perspective is so much different now than it has been over the last 2 years, where I have found that
middle ground.
Yeah, where it's like, I don't need to binge. My calories are high. I'm still ridiculously lean.
Yeah.
I won't be training because I'll be up at my mother-in-law's, and we always get snowed in. So I won't be training at all. However, I will be going for a walk because I'm taking the dog with me. So I'll be taking him for a walk. Cool. He'll probably have 2 walks that day because he can't go and run around like a knobhead in the field, because we have a field. So we just take him on a concrete walk twice a day.
Cool.
So I'll be doing that, and we normally have a regular turkey dinner with the mushiest vegetables that you've ever had in your life, because God love my mother-in-law, I really do love her, but she wants to be so organised that she puts the veggies on at 8 o'clock in the morning. We don't eat 3. So
basically like liquid.
Yeah, literally. It's honestly, it's to the extent where my kids actually call them Nanny Angie's mushtables.
Oh wow, that's
what they're like. That's what they're like. And we have piss water gravy as well.
Lovely.
Because we don't have big lumpy gravy, but it is piss water. It's just like brown water. You can't taste gravy granules. But do you know what? Even though everybody knows that I am a massive foodie, when we all sit around that table together and we have the mushtables and we have the piss wet gravy and we have dry turkey, do you know what? I enjoy every second.
That's what counts, isn't it? Exactly, it wouldn't be the same without that, right?
No, it's what it counts. I don't know if anybody or does know. They probably do know, but we lost my brother-in-law last year in an accident, and Christmas was his favourite time of year, and we made piss water gravy for him because he was the only one that liked it. So even though he wasn't there last year, we still made piss water gravy because it was like, well, do you know what? That's been a constant and, you know, consistency and all the rest of it. So it's that kind of thing. So I'm actually going to enjoy the piss water gravy and the mushables because that's what it's what creates memories, guys. And it's me and AJ were talking off air beforehand, and everybody thinks that we're just these two superhuman people who get up in the morning, go and do our cardio, go and lift weights, always have a smile on our face, always look at the positive and the bright side. But do you know what? Sometimes shit happens and we are human.
Yeah.
And it's like AJ was saying, he's going through a bit of a rough patch this week on his Instagram story. And this is what makes us human. So please don't forget that we are human beings. We are going to enjoy Christmas Day. We are going to create memories. We are going to give that I'm not going to give a fuck attitude for one day because that's what makes us human. Yeah. And I hope all of you do take that on board, and please understand that there is more to life than prep, than weight loss, than muscle gain, than going to the gym. Life is short. And family and friends and memories need to be created within that time period.
100%.
And, you know, that I think is a really good note to leave it on because I want to obviously say as well, AJ is a massive part in my life at the moment, and he is what makes my life consistent.
Oh, thank you, Vicky.
So that's my top Titan tip. So go and enjoy the fuck out of Christmas and keep your loved ones close. And your loved ones even closer.
Yeah. It's, guys, it's precious time that you have. So, you know, really, really fucking think about that when they sort of, you know, say, oh, are you going to be in for Christmas Day? When your family ask you whether you're going to be in, you're thinking, you know, do I want to go out? Do I want to spend it with, you know, potentially people that are like less important? Or whether you're just going to go out on an all-nighter and then come back and just wake up at 12 with a hangover, and just waste time. You know, don't waste time. And also, I've done it when, you know, my grandparents live up in the Midlands. I did it one year when I said to my parents, I actually just want to sort of stay at home and do some extra shifts, and that's not something I'll ever do again in my entire life. Because that's you know, especially if your grandparents or extra family live further away, take every opportunity that you have to go up and see them. Like, it's important, it really is. So yeah, I think we'll leave it there. Guys, make sure to, should we do our little
regular screenshot? Shall I flash for the screenshot? No, I'm not going to flash. I'm not going to flash. I think AJ should flash.
Okay. Whatever remains of abs that I've got left. Right, okay, cool, let's go. Cool, wicked. I know that probably I'll give a few shout outs to, I definitely know that Chrissy, who's a client of Revive Strongers, Chrissy on Instagram, he'll definitely be one of the first to screenshot that. He's on the podcast. And then who else is on them? It depends what time we release them, but my mate Ben, who's Small to Swole on Instagram.
Oh yeah, he's awesome. Yeah, I like him.
He's always on them so far. So thank you to you guys. I know there's tons of other listeners.
Yeah, there is.
I'll give shout outs along the way to people that we're noticing. But
maybe we should do a competition. The one who's quickest on the draw, we can do a competition. Yeah, I'll send you a Titan badge. You know, they're like one of those Blue Peter ones. No, and we'll do an M&M badge. We will make an M&M badge.
That would be wicked, actually.
We'll do an M&M badge, right? And we'll run a competition in January. And the one who's like the closest or the quickest on the draw to tag us both in those screenshots, we will personally send you an M&M badge over.
That's wicked. Yeah, we could start doing absolute crap giveaways.
We'll make pens.
You get a hairband or something.
Oh, that would be so cool. M&M hairband.
Cool. Anyway, guys, thanks very much for listening. Love you lots, and we will chat next week. Cool.
We will. See you. Bye.
Bye.